Will Ruben Amorim bring the glory days again? That is the big question. Will he bring the glory days again? As you can see, the title of the video is INEOS are backing Ruben Amorim with a huge summer transfer budget, supposedly, according to reports today. And that's on the back, of course, of a very disappointing week, Monday night for Manchester United. But as always, guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of the United Community Podcast. Please smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. We're going to get into, of course, what happened on Monday night, the repercussions, the backlash to it. And we're going to talk about the reports today suggesting that INEOS are backing Ruben Amorim long-term, even after that poor showing. And supposedly he is going to be given money in the summer to go out and try and continue this rebuild. As always, we've got the guys in with us. Ben is there below me. Oshin is in the other corner. And then we've got somebody over on the right-hand side with a paper bag over their head. I don't know. I think we all know who it is. But as always, welcome, guys. How are we doing? All good?
All good. All good. All good.
Good. Right, look, let's jump into it and let's rip the Band-Aid off and talk about Monday night, because we might as well delve into it and dissect it as much as we can. Chris, you took off the paper bag. I'll give you the first. I'll give you first dibs on what happened Monday night. Obviously, look, it was down there with the worst performances we've seen under Amorim. We're starting to see too many of them, or we have seen too many of them under his what is now 1 year in charge of Manchester United. What did you make of Monday night, and where does it rank in terms of the lows that we've seen under Ruben Amorim?
I think it's the lowest, to be honest, in my mind. I mean, it's just to look at it and to watch the game. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we had a couple chances. Jordan Pickford was showcasing for Thomas Tuchel in the crowd, making all the saves. And, but this, to me, it just, two things. One, we have no leadership. And as much as I have to now agree with Oshin about Bruno, as much as I like Bruno and everything, he is not a leader. He is not a leader on the pitch. He doesn't command the team. He isn't the guy that'll right the ship when things are going bad, and everything like that. He won't grab anybody by the scruff of the neck and just be like, you need to, he doesn't inspire. And I think that was the biggest problem with the game, is that there wasn't anybody to really take command. It was, I think it shows that, we don't have much past the starting 11 when we have our starting 11 with Cunha and Mbeumo and Ahmad on the right wing back and everything, because I honestly don't think Ahmad is very good at the 10 because he can't play in a crowd. He needs to be out in space and run at people. I think he's just a little small for that, and that's in the Prem. In other leagues, he may do great at that position, but in the Prem, he's just too small of a player. I think we missed Cunha because if you notice when, again, low block, everybody back, they got, everybody behind the ball. You need someone like Cunha that will break someone down off the dribble. You have to break them down off the dribble, and we lack that. If you notice, it was side to side again, side to side again, side to side again, and it really wasn't clicking. The left side's a disaster. Dorgu had a chance, but apparently for United he can't finish, but for the Danish national team he can finish, but for us he can't. Delo comes in, he's worse. And Mbeumo, Ahmad, they do a little bit over there, but if you notice, like Mbeumo wasn't going after people. He wasn't taking people off the dribble. He's, trying to, cut in behind. And I think that's what you get when you bring Cunha in, because Mbeumo will play off of Cunha in his dribble and then he'll slot someone in. And when we don't have that, it's a problem. And the funny thing that I saw was, it's the first game that I've seen that we served the ball we were crossing the ball in the box, but we can't do that when we have a 6'5" striker. But when we don't have a 6'5" striker, we're crossing the ball in. Because I'll be honest, I think if we have Sesko, I think he may put a couple on frame. Because we were playing balls into Xerxes and everything, and he had a nice header that Pickford made a very nice save on and everything. But like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, we don't have Sesko, so let's cross the ball in the box. Like,
is there an argument, Chris, to the fact that Everton were down to 10 men, they were sitting so deep that it was the only real way of getting the ball into the box? Like you're mentioning Mbuemo there, you know, is there an opportunity for him to run directly into the box with the ball when they've got 7 or 8 men in there?
no, and I agree with that to a point. But the other point is that, you know, we don't, even if we bring the ball back out and we try to, you know, switch it quickly and everything, everybody's still passing and no one's taking someone on and creating space by, if you beat one man, someone has to cover that man and then maybe you can slip someone through. And that's where Mbumo, I think, is vital and stuff. And, you know, we just weren't getting the ball. Like, we weren't going to the end line and making the ball, you know, crossing it on the ground to the back post or anything like that. We weren't getting any penetration besides a ball over the top when you have Tarkowski and you have Mikulenko in there and everything. Like, it's, you know, they were having a heyday. I mean, we were playing into their hands at that point. And I just think that, you know, as we've said, Bruno is not a player that's going to take someone off the dribble. He's going to look to slide a ball through. And when you have that many players back and you're playing so compact in the back, it's, I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's very, very hard to get to leak someone through. And, you know, even with, I mean, I saw some decent combination play with Xerxes, and I can't put it all on him because this is his first game that he's played in how long? Like, truly. And
225 days since his last start.
Yeah, so I'm like, I can't fault him I can't put it all on him, but you know, it'll lead into our discussion later of, you know, midfielders. We need a solid midfield. We need, you know, we have to find a leader. I'm sorry. And whether that's Elliot Anderson, someone else, whether it's Cunha when he comes back, or, you know, we need someone that's going to be a strong leader. And like, I was listening to pundits talk about how, oh, there shouldn't have been a red card because of the violent conduct. But, and I was listening to the one guy say, or Amorim said it, I want someone on the team that's going to go after someone for making a mistake. Now, you don't want to see the slap, but you want to see someone get in someone's grill and just be like, you can't do that. Like, that one went a little far, but we don't have that on our squad. We don't have that person that does that. And maybe it's the Butcher when he comes back. De Ligt doesn't command it like that. I mean, you can see him shouting at players, but he's not a player that's going to get in his face, not like a Roy Keane or anything like that. So, and De Ligt can't be he can be a captain, but he can't control the game from his spot in the central center back because we need a midfield engine. And we've talked about this for years.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have the midfield engine. And honestly, I think we need 2, you know, because it's not going to be just one, you know.
Well, let me ask, Oshin, let me go to you on this one then. It felt like, I still think Manchester United were the better team the other night. You know, you've got 25 shots on Everton. What was it? Maybe 8 or 9 on target, something like that. You know, is it blown a little bit out of proportion? I know, obviously, the performance was poor. And what kind of annoyed me more than anything else was the slow build-up, the methodical kind of, you know, just lackluster kind of, no real emphasis on going for the jugular. Is that purely down to quality? Is it down to the manager? Is it down to the players on the pitch needing to smell blood? What's your assessment on it?
Well, there's kind of 2 questions there, and the first one is kind of stats are stats. The only stat that matters is the one on the top left-hand side of the screen at the end of 90 minutes. And we were beaten 1-0. And you have to say that once they went down to 10 men, Everton looked like the only team in there. We didn't do, as Chris has alluded to there, we did not have a leader on that pitch to put in a tackle to get the crowd behind us, to, as Chris said, grasp with a scruff of the neck, slap across the back of the head, just to say, come on, what are we doing here? They've got the 10 men, not us. They just, and I said it a couple of times Monday night in the chat, we were very happy to play across the front of them. The few times we went in behind them or down the side, we caused a bit of trouble. But we were just, and they were only delighted to sit in 2 blocks of 4 and have us pass it left to right, back and forward. They didn't really care because they were doing what they had to do. I think, and okay, Amorim has to shoulder his fair share of the blame. I think he started with the wrong team. I think I would have started with Bruno in the 10, just to put him in his natural position, because we all knew Everton were going to play in a low block. Everyone knew Everton were going to play in a low block.
Yeah.
We can't break them down. And we find it hard to break down without a creative player in that 10. And Buemo is a workhorse. He's going to run up and down that line, run at players, but he's not going to pick that unlocking pass. He's going to be either creating or at the end of. He's not going to be the one jinking the ball in. He's not going to be the one spotting something, reverse pass, peripheral vision. He's not that player. Cunha is. We didn't have that Monday. So Bruno should have got up to the 10. I would have then this is all hindsight. It's easy to say this from the armchair home, but I do believe starting Xerxes was the wrong move. I think if we had started Mount with Bruno and Mbuemo across the front three, we would have energy from the off because we had no energy. Xerxes, God bless him, can't run. I was trying to think of who he remind me of, and I'm not comparing them like for like, but he's a Berbatov-esque player. There's no speed. He has on occasion had a good first touch. That seemed to have left him on Monday. He just could not bring the ball under control. But we played into Everton's hands, and we played into Moyes' hands as well. And then once they went down to 10, everybody knew that they were going to put 4 in the midfield. And against our 2 in the midfield, we had no out. And Casemiro was on his own there again, trying to stem the tide. Now, look, we weren't beating 5 or 6-0 here, but it felt that bad a defeat. We just didn't have anything.
You knew Oisín, didn't you? As soon as Everton went 1 up, you just went, we're going to struggle here.
Yeah, because as I said, we have no one to break down that block. We have no one to play that pass. He's sitting too deep now because that's where the manager wants to play him or feels he has to play to fit him into the team. But I just felt that Amorim, and I was very critical of Ten Hag when he was doing this stuff. So I have to be consistent. To be as much as I want Amorim to succeed, I have to criticize him when he got it wrong or when he gets it wrong. He got the starting 11 wrong, and I feel he got the finishing 11 wrong as well. Bringing Dalot on any position on that pitch doesn't help anyone. But it goes back to what we've been discussing a long time on this since the start of the season when Amorim came in. I think he's got his first 11 that he wants as part of his project. He's got 2 or 3 players beyond that he knows he wants to bring forward. Then the rest, he doesn't know what to do with them. So in training, he's sending those off to do keep you uppies in the corner and just kind of play 5-a-sides while he works with the first 13 in his head or 14. But then we don't know what we're going to get when we go beyond that. And Chris saying that when Martinez comes back, is he going to be the leader? I don't know. Is he the leader? That he's going to be more vocal, absolutely. But I don't know. Is he the leader that we need? Like you say, we need that general in midfield. We need that person harrying, pushing, someone who's going to put in that tackle that's going to get Old Trafford up on their feet. We have no one like that. Even De Ligt, he's not, as much as I like him, I think he is captain material. His leadership skills in that area are lacking. And we've said it numerous times on this show and in the chat and in the lives. We haven't had that kind of player for a while, and they're hard to get. And you're not going to get one of those players in January. Clubs do not let those players go in January. So we are looking at least another 5 months of this Premier League campaign with the midfield of Casemiro, and unless something amazing happens in January, which I can't see happening. So yeah, they were my thoughts on Monday night. But as I said, the only stat that matters is the result, and we didn't get it. And I don't think it was a worse performance under Amorim. I think the Europa League final is up there for me. He absolutely bottled that one, but I think it's definitely up there. And we're probably going to talk about it later on, but I am a bit concerned about Sunday going into Crystal Palace without Sesko, possibly without Cunha again. And then beyond that, when AFCON comes up, do we have the squad depth? We said it for years that we're cigarette paper thin. Where are we going to go? We say we have options and everybody's fit, but you're not going to have a full season of everybody fit. It just doesn't happen that way. So I am concerned about Sunday because Crystal Palace are a much better team than what Everton are, and they are going to attack us a lot and expose us a lot more, I feel, if we don't have the right 11 from the start. And I don't think Amorim has his first choice 11 available to him at the minute.
Yeah. Ben, kind of moving on from what Oisín said there, or adding to it a little bit, do you think that this potentially is just a blip, or are there signs there that they're regressing a little bit back into the old Manchester United, or what we're used to seeing at least under Ruben Amorim? I mean, 12 wins in 12 months in the Premier League for Amorim. The stat was floating around the last couple of days. It's simply not good enough, no matter how you try and frame it with, new manager coming in, new system, whatever the case may be. Is there a possibility, and again, there's probably me just clinging to hope a little bit, but, already this season we've lost to Grimsby, and a couple of weeks later we beat Liverpool at Anfield, so you just don't really know this Manchester United side. But do you think maybe it is a blip, or are you worried maybe that it could continue?
I'd like to think it's a blip, but like you say, with the players AFCON coming up, the potential there that it's going to go like it did last season. But I feel sorry for Amorim, to be honest with you, with the team that he's got, because let's be honest, it's not his full team yet. Players are getting injured, and he's just got to play the players, hasn't he, that he's got.
Yeah,
We'd like to think that they're not his choice. Like you say, Mount should have started. We should have set up like we did against Liverpool, to be honest, against them. I'd have thought. If you're going to break somebody down, that's the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
I'll be honest, I thought, and I know he's on the outs looking in, but I thought that I'll agree with Oisín that Bruno should have started in the 10. Ahmad should have stayed on the right wing back, and I thought they should have brought Ugarte, because the one thing Ugarte's going to do, he's not going to let Dewsbury haul. I don't think that goal's going to happen, because he's going to foul him. He's going to. Bruno kind of stuck a leg in there a little bit, but Ugarte's going to clean his clock.
Well, let me ask you then, Chris. Let me ask you on top of what Ben said. Is it a case, because he's obviously saying Amorim doesn't have his full squad yet, and look, we understand that. He's basically had 4 signings in the summer. Is it a case where we just have to buckle up and be patient? And I know that fucking word, as a Manchester United fan, patience is something that we've been living off of now for the best part of 12 years, 13 years nearly, since Ferguson has gone. But clearly it isn't his squad, and he needs a new midfield. He probably needs reinforcement at wing back as well. But surely he has to be getting more out of results, and the players available to him than 12 wins in 12 months in the Premier League.
I mean, the results are shocking. I mean, he needs to get more wins and everything like that. But he's trying to instill a way of playing, and the problem is that it's.
But Chris, 12 wins in 12 months mean that way of that instillingness, that's definitely not a word, but that, trying to instill that way of playing isn't working.
I don't know if I agree with that, because I've seen it work, and it's just a matter of, you gotta look at it though. We're down 2 of the players that he brought in the summer, and we're and then, and I don't think, I think he needs to make some more tactical changes where, he's got to go for, and I'll be honest with you, I'm an Amorim fan. I want him to succeed. And we all know that about me, but
yeah, absolutely.
He needs to do, and I'll agree with Oisín. We're critical of Ten Hag, and so we have to be critical of him. He needs to do better at setting up the team to go for the win. And, and you know what? You have to trust the players that you have, because that's all you have. And I think that I'll agree with Oisín. Bruno should have been up there. I think Casemiro and Ugarte should have started in the midfield, because the one thing Ugarte's going to do, he's going to run around and he's going to wreck things. And you know what? He may give up some things, but we were giving up things anyways. And I think that when Martinez comes back, you're going to see Martinez play a little bit more on the left side. And heaven forbid, we're going to have to see Luke Shaw at the left wing back. He's mentioned it already.
Well, you talk about Luke Shaw there, Chris.
He said that he can play there.
My whole kind of thing on Luke Shaw was, and again, this is stubbornness out of Amorim. You're playing against 10 men who were camped on the edge of their own box. Why not go to a 4-3-3? Put Luke Shaw out on the left back. Go with Yoro and De Ligt as the 2 centre backs. Put Ahmad as the right back and let him attack with Mbeumo and just have an extra man forward.
Well, and I agree with you, and that's what I'm talking about. He needs tactically. He needs to. I want to instill the system, and I get that, but sometimes you have to get away from it to get the result. And I think that's where you find his stubbornness, is that he's like, my way is going to work, and no, your way is not going to work, because the players you have aren't going to make that system work at this moment. And that's where I think he needs to be a little bit more open to the idea of, like what you said, maybe you go to a 4-3-3, or maybe just, you bring in Aiden Heaven, or, you move Luke Shaw into the left wing back, and you don't even bring Delo on the pitch at all. And you move him, and you're going to go in, because I honestly think Luke Shaw could be possibly what Trent was for Liverpool, because what Trent did is he moved into the midfield more. He didn't bomb down the wing all the time. He moved into the midfield and crowded the midfield a little bit more, and he can service the ball. It's just different things to make things happen. And, now Luke Shaw can't play 90 minutes there. I understand that. But at the same time, with what you got to make different tactical changes to get better results. And I agree with that. The results are not good enough. But I believe in what he has or what he's doing. But I do think as a manager, he needs to be better at making in-game decisions and tactical changes.
Let me float this. Oisin, I'll go to you on this one, okay? And I'll float this here, and I'll put the starting 11 up on the screen. We talk about the system, we talk about the three at the back and so on and so forth. De Ligt has played the three at the back now in his previous two clubs, both Juventus and at Bayern Munich, okay? Luke Shaw has played in a back three with England. Lenny Yoro is 18 and is impressionable. He should be able to coach him, which into something like that, which I think he is. Patrick Dorgu has all of the attributes bar the final ball to play as a wing back. Now, I think Mazraoui is probably playing out of position, because I think he's either a fullback or a right-sided centre of the back three. Fernandez is out of position. We know that. Casemiro isn't. Diallo isn't. Mbeumo isn't. Xerxes crap. So, this whole system argument, for me, kind of falls down a little bit at times when you go, well, all of these are capable players of playing that system and playing their individual position. Why are we struggling with it so goddamn much? Is it a case, Oshin, that one or two players out of position and, the house of cards falls?
Well, that's what we've been saying for a while here. I mean, he has his first 11. Once he goes beyond that, what does he do? And is he coaching them in his system, or is he just expecting them to go and he does have to work with them? I don't get that. The system is being used by everybody against us, opposition fans, pundits, because he's sticking to it, and it's clearly not working. But it's what he wants to do, so we have to back him for that. I don't as you pointed out there, we don't have too many square pegs and round holes.
Yeah.
I just think that a lot of our team just is not good enough for United. I hate to say it, but you pointed out Euro's 18 there, and he's one of our first choice start. We should not have an 18-year-old as a first choice starting right side centre back. It's no, okay. I've always said if you're good enough, you're old enough. But that's one of those positions in this system where someone a bit more experienced would work better. Dorgu, I want him to come good. I'm not sure is it going to happen. That final ball, that final decision reminds me a lot of Rashford. He can do great things on the ball, but then when he gets to the end, he's like a headless chicken or a deer in the headlights. He doesn't know what he's going to do with it. Ahmad, like Chris said, does he have the... Clearly, he's a footballer. Does he have the physical attributes to make it at this end of the end that the Premier League we want to be at? I mean, clearly he is a footballer. He did great stuff with Sunderland a couple of years ago on loan. League One or a Championship is sometimes called men's football because that's where they cut their teeth. So obviously he can make it there. But what is the difference now where he comes forward? Is it the fact he was played on the left-hand side? He doesn't like playing over there. Sometimes you just have to put in a shift, and we've all played football. We've all played in positions, out of positions at times when there was. I mean, I played in goal at 5'7" once. Not the best, you know what I mean? So I mean, we've all put in the shift. We've all done stuff for a team that we didn't really want to, but you just do. And I don't want to come to the problems that have been in the dressing room for a couple of years. They seem to eradicate a lot of those issues. But could there still be some hangovers? I mean, I saw one of Dee's comments that Ahmad looked a bit stroppy. Bruno was throwing the hands up in the air again. Are those individual things, or is that spreading throughout the club again? I that could be a worry. Have we got to the honeymoon stage is now over, and Amorim is starting to, the dreaded word, lose the dressing room because he can't keep all the superstars we have there. I use that term in inverted commas, or all the superstars we have there. He can't keep them all happy. You're never going to, and that's the manager's job. He has to. There's always going to be players who think they should be starting, but aren't going to start. But I think it comes down to, through all this, okay, I take Dee's point, but I mean, last season is last season, but we only had 2 months of this season. So we don't have much more to compare it to. So we have to compare it to last season.
Well,
and there have been green shoots of example. There have been green shoots of progress. But have they been the green shoots that we all thought we were going to get after the full preseason, after one game a week? I think we're still going to have a lot of the same problems we had last season.
Yeah, well, my big worry, and I'm sure you've seen this clip since Monday night, but my big worry is this.
I can't hear anything. What
is there sound with that?
What are you saying?
There's no sound.
There's no sound there. Are you just saying Gary Neville and Ferguson are the problems?
Oh, there's no sound.
Gary Neville for sure.
Sorry, I can hear perfectly here. Sorry, I thought anyway. Basically, what Ferguson was saying was last 15 minutes. What's the point in playing 4-4-2? Shove people into the box. You know what I mean? He said now, there are times where that goes against you and you end up losing. He was talking about when Solskjaer had to take a player down. Was it against Newcastle or something like that?
Yeah.
He said, but the reward is the dressing room after the game and the crowd with a late goal and a late winner. It's electric and it builds morale and it builds spirit and so on and so forth. Amorim will not do that. It's quite clear he will not do that. And that's a big worry in my eyes.
It's a worry in my eyes that Ferguson is still around the club because his shadow looms large. And while, much like Busby, I think while Ferguson is alive, everyone will be compared to him. So I wonder, do we have to keep
Ferguson
back?
won a league while Busby was still alive.
This is true. But much like when Busby first retired, it took us a lot of managers to get through to get back to where we were. I mean, who do we have? Sexton, the Doc, the man from Cork, Farrell. We had. So I think there's a lot of comparables between the two situations. So I think going to Ferguson for his advice doesn't help anybody. It definitely doesn't help Amorim, doesn't help the current team, because I don't think a lot of the first team would remember Ferguson's spell in charge of United, or they would have been kids when that happened. So I think we need to move away from, as Dee says, okay, last season, if Ferguson's time was Ferguson's time, we need to move on a bit. We can't be like certain teams down the motorway who keep clinging to their glory years and win two leagues in 30 years and then think they're back again.
The other part of this, under Ferguson, look at the squad that Ferguson had when he had. I mean, you could bring Solskjaer off the bench. You could bring Sheringham off the bench. You had players that you had impact players that you could bring off the bench that weren't your 12th or 13th or
So is it a case then, Chris? Sorry to be cutting across you. Is it a case then to allow Ruben Amorim to assemble a squad then? Is there enough signs there for you to say, right, let's give him the 3 years that Jim Ratcliffe said a few months ago?
I think, I'll be honest with you, and I go back to what I listened to Thierry Henry a while ago. He talked about it. He goes, you're not going to change everything in one window. You have to give windows for this to happen. And you saw what INEOS wanted to do. They wanted to get more goals. So they got Cunha, they got Mbumo, and they got Sesko. They made a concerted effort to go, and I think that was the effort. We're gonna get more goals in the front line. You know, you can say, well, maybe we shouldn't have went for Sesko. Maybe we should have went for Oli Watkins, but Oli Watkins has 1 goal in the season right now. You know, so maybe that was good that we didn't get Oli Watkins, because it seems like maybe he's going this way, maybe a little bit. But I mean, so you look at that. Now the next window, you know, maybe if we would have made Champions League, maybe we would have had more money to go out and get, you know, midfielders to go along with the 3 that we got in the front. But we didn't. So we have to take that into consideration. Like, we had limited funds to do what we needed to do. We got three-ish, you know, 3 starters, you know, and everything. So it's gonna be a process. And I know it's gonna be a process, but you would think that with the players that are already here, you would get better effort out of it. And I'm sorry, that's not an Amorim thing. That's a player thing. And that's that the players have to give that effort. You have to be willing to let your leg fall off, you know, and everything like that. And I don't see in this game, I didn't see that. And like Oshin said, in the final, I didn't see that, you know, and everything like that. So I think that's where we're at. And that's why I say you need those engines that will make the team go. You know, whether that's a Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Stiller, Baleva, you know, you name them. There's a litany of players out there, and honestly, at this moment, the only one that I can say that I really like right now is Elliot Anderson. He's playing at a high level. He seems to be a guy that's going to take control of a game, take control of a midfield. Now the question is, who do you pair him with? Because to be honest with you, the 2 that we have right there now, you can't. Those 2 can't be with the team next summer. I'm sorry. Like, if you're going to keep Bruno, then he's going to play the 10. He's not going to play in the midfield, in the center midfield like that. So you need to bring 2. I mean, let's be honest. You need more than 2, but you need 2 to start right now at this point. Whether you're going to keep Casemiro as a substitute, or you're going to keep Ugarte as a substitute, fine. But at the same time, you need 2 that are going to start. And I'm undecided on, you know, is that an Elliot Anderson and a Wharton?
Let's talk about the reports that came out today, because Samuel Luckhurst, now again, we all know the kind of journalist he is, but he's saying that United are ready to support Ruben Amorim with another squad clear out to finance the next stage of the rebuild. And a couple of different reports then have come out and saying who United are looking at. Now we'll talk about the midfield, Chris. You mentioned it there, and here's a list of players that United are potentially, you know, interested in: Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Carlos Baleba, João Gomez, Andre, Angelo Stiller, and Conor Gallagher. Like, in terms of who stands out there to you, I mean, I think it's quite clear United probably need 2 midfielders, you know, whether that be January, you know, because a lot of talk about João Gomez specifically is about in January, because, you know, Wolves are going to get relegated. You know, will they get more now rather than in the summer, whatever the case may be? What's your thoughts on that? And look, I think probably Elliot Anderson is everyone's first choice, really.
I mean, the way he's playing now, Elliot Anderson, I think is probably my first choice now. You know, depends on what Forrest is going to want for him. You know, if they're going to sit there and bang on 80 to 100 million, then I don't think that's as good as he is. I don't think he's an 80 to 100 million dollar player. And I got to be honest with that. You know, I like Adam Wharton, but I don't know if he's dynamic enough. You know, I don't like what I've seen out of Carlos Baleba, and you can say, well, you wanted United, but I don't.
Yeah, I'd be very concerned about him now.
I like what I see out of João Gomez, because he's an experienced Premier League proven player, and he's got legs. You know, I don't know about. I haven't watched Andre enough. And then Stiller, I see how. I mean, with the flop that Florian Wirtz is right now, I don't know if I want to bring someone from Germany, to be honest, because it's a different game here in the Prem. It really is. You know, you have a lot more space in the Bundesliga than you do in the Premier League. And Conor Gallagher.
Well, before you move on there, because Dee makes a good point here, is he playing that way? He's talking about Elliot Anderson as a byproduct of the players around him and the system there at Forest, or is he standing out because of just sheer quality? Maybe.
I think he's standing out. I think you could say it's a little bit of both, but I mean, I think what he's doing at Forest translates to what we need at United. You know, he's going to be the engine in there. He's going to be able to get the ball. He's going to move it left to right quickly. You know, he's going to be a defensive stalwart where he's going to stop plays and you know, he's got enough legs to do that. He's not so, you know, stand there. But I'll go back to this, and I only say this. I say this, and I am a Martin Holman fan for two reasons. One, I think he can command a midfield, and two, he has the quality. He is a captain of a team already, so you know he has leadership ability. So I think you need to look at those type of things, and maybe it's not a Holman, but
yes, but we're also just after talking about De Ligt, who was captain of Ajax at 19, not having the leadership qualities within this Man United team.
No. Now, and maybe I said it wrong, but I think De Ligt has the ability to be a captain. But the problem what we need is I think we need a captain in the midfield, not at the center back spot. And that's, I mean, if you want to make De Ligt the captain, fine, I'm okay with that. But you need someone that's going to be a captain of the midfield that, you know, not everybody gets to wear the armband, but you need someone that has the leadership abilities in the midfield. And I think that's where you're looking at when you go to get someone, you got to get someone that already is established in that. You know, he's established and he's already been, and that's why I like Yeoman from Sporting, because he has that ability. He's injured at the moment, but at the same time, he has that ability to command the midfield. Now, I know it's hard to bring in one player and then all of a sudden make him captain. I'm okay with De Ligt being captain with the armband, but you still need someone that can be, as you say, your vice captain.
Yeah, not to try and sound like Ray Keane too much, but you need characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think you need characters in the right way that, you know, they're going to command the midfield, and that's all that matters at that point. You know, they have to command the midfield. And as much as everybody liked Baleba and, you know, even João Gomez, I like João Gomez, but he's not going to command the midfield. He's going to destroy a lot of stuff. He's going to win a lot of balls, but he's not going to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And I think you need experience there. I don't think you need young.
Well, Ben, let me ask you then, what's your preference on? Because Chris is saying there, you need to kind of find a balance. Elliot Anderson is young, you know what I mean? But he's playing at a very high level and very consistently this season. You know, João Gomez is obviously, you know, heavily considered as an option for Manchester United. Where are you leaning towards? Obviously, we need two probably central midfielders. Do you go maybe with a bit of youth and then another one that's got maybe experience on his side? What way would you look at?
I'd get one of each. I'd get the youth player in and I'd get an experienced player in, to be honest with you. We've got the players there now that can do the job as such that you can learn off. Did you lose me then?
No, sorry. I'm just watching Arsenal are gone 3-1 up.
Right. Well, like you say, I reckon we need one of each. We need a young one and an experienced player.
Yeah, I agree. Right, look, let's move on from the midfield for a moment. Oisin, I'll go to you on this one because obviously, you know, wing back is looking like an area of real, you know, vulnerability at the moment, or lack of real quality. And ESPN have been talking today, there's a sense that Ruben Amorim requires greater depth at wing back. You know, inquiries have already been made regarding the possibility around certain targets. And look, I put a poll up in the live chat about, you know, if Amorim is given the budget in the summer, what position is priority number one? 14% are saying striker, 71% are saying midfield, and 14% are saying wing back, full back. I mean, it clearly is an area of concern. Would you still prioritize midfield over it? Or, I mean, it just goes to show, really, doesn't it, how big of a job and how big of a rebuild is required?
Yeah, I suppose my answer to that is week after week after week, we're coming on here and saying how we were torn apart in the midfield. How when we're playing two in there against the three who don't have, Casemiro hasn't got the legs that he used to have, and Bruno doesn't have the discipline to stay and do the job he's being asked to do. It's as clear as the nose on Stiller's face that we have to get a midfielder. Sorry, Chris. Did you like that one?
That's a good one. It's a good one.
But
It's a good one.
But we need a midfielder. We need two, and I think I know you asked me about wing backs, but I just want to go back to Lockhurst's tweet there.
Yeah.
Did he say something about that? They're backing a clear out to fund the players coming in. Is that what he said?
Yeah, they're ready to support Ruben Amorim with a clear out to finance the next stage of the rebuild. So he might not be involved in that next stage.
So that's concerning me that they have to clear out to finance the next stage. So who do we have to clear out there? Bruno, Casemiro, Menu, and Ugarte. I think all four of those could go. I don't think Amorim rates Menu. I don't think Ugarte is good enough for Premier League. Bruno's out of position, and Casemiro is too expensive and too old. And that's a huge, drastic move to make. But I think we're probably going to get maybe 70 mil for Bruno from Saudis. And he's the person who's going to bring in the most money for us. Is that going to buy a Wharton? Is that going to buy an Anderson? Probably not.
No.
I saw in an article I was reading that they're looking at Ruben Neves out of where is he in Saudi?
Yeah.
I agree with you, Chris. I shook my head on it too.
2 or 3 years too late.
Exactly.
But you look at that team that's beside you there, Oisín. Like, you could sell Shaw, you could sell Dargu, you could sell Casemiro, you could sell Bruno, Mazraoui I'd keep, and Mbeumo I'd keep, Diallo I'd keep, Xerxes you could sell, Maguire will probably go. There's an awful lot. Now, I obviously understand you can't sell them all into one go, but again, it just goes back to how big this bloody rebuild is going to be.
It's huge, and the point I'm trying to make is we've got very little sellable assets who are going to give us any return at all. So we're going to be looking at 10, 15, 20 million for a lot of the players you mentioned, Shaw, Maguire. You're not going to command 50, 60 million for those players. They're not worth it. So it's going to take a lot to clear out to finance even one of Anderson or Wharton. I think the most obvious to come in would be the two from Wolves because they're going to get relegated. So there probably is a clause in their contract that would allow them go cheaper,
And plus what's going to happen then, Oisín, the world and their grandmother is going to know that United are desperate for a centre midfielder.
And there's going to be an extra zero put on that price.
Exactly.
But you got to remember too, though, PSR is gone now. Next season it's SCR, the squad cost ratio, which you're going to be you can only spend 85% of your revenue.
But all that aside, that's obviously United's favor, but it's the United tax year on year on year. There's going to be an extra zero, regardless of PSR, FCR, or ABC, whatever it's going to be. There's going to be that extra zero put on. I don't want to go after Hamland because that's a Frankie de Jong type saga. It's the manager wanting to go back after his star player out of the team he had. I don't want to go through that heartbreak again for the next couple of seasons, linked with him every summer, every transfer window. It's not what we need. I think what's going to happen is like happened this year, or like I think happened this year. I've got no way of knowing whether this is true or not. Amorim picked where he thought he was light. They gave him options. Amorim picked them. And I think the two places he's going to pick next season, January would be ideal. I said before on a pod that United need to be reinforcing every chance they get, January and summer. They need to keep, and I understand that's not always possible. The deals aren't always there in January. I don't think loans are any good for us. I think we need permanent moves, and the players just aren't available there in January. But I do think we should, as a club, and the club of our size, we should be looking at reinforcing every chance we get. But I can't see us making any huge purchases. If we're going to buy anyone in January, it might be the wing back that we need. It won't be a centre midfielder because clubs will not want to sell them.
Yeah.
I think João Gomez is probably the one midfielder that you can get in January because they may pay because if there is, and I don't know this about his contract, but they may be able to they may want to not wait until the summer and take less money for him because he's got a relegation clause in his thing where we may be able to get him, but and I'll push back on you a little bit, Oshin, about the United tax. We didn't really pay United tax this summer. You know, I don't.
Well, look, you and I were both in agreement of Embuemo. We still overpaid for him.
But
You know,
But
we
here's
slightly overpaid for
thing,
Sesko.
But here's the thing: if you look at what they were going to go for to other teams, we didn't get paid. We didn't pay more than what they were.
We still paid more from Embuemo later than what we would have gotten for earlier this year. And look, you were on my side about all this in the summer, so don't start throwing things now back around.
And I understand that, but on your side too. But what was the cost of Embuemo? It was 62.
No, that's what we could have gotten for first day, but we ended up paying 73, rising to 76.
No, it wasn't 73.
It was. That's what I ended up
like 67.
I'm talking euros. I don't talk in the Queen's money.
Oh, here we go. We didn't pay 70 million for him.
6-7.
Oh, don't even do it. Don't even do it.
I don't even know what it means.
Oh, no.
I just see all the kids doing it. You said 67. I had that.
Because Sesko was more money than Mbeumo. And we didn't.
Well, look, what we'll do after this, Chris, is we'll check back the pods and see what it came up to. But it was definitely 70 million euros is what I'm talking.
But I think but again, was it, and I'm going to just throw this out there, was it the United tax that we paid 70, or did we agree that we were going to pay more so we could spread the payment out? There's a difference. You know, because they've said that a lot of times you pay a little bit more because you can take a little bit, you can pay a little bit more and you can spread the payment out, and that way you're not getting a huge chunk at that point.
Just go back to Embuemo again, because I think Chris was talking. He didn't see how wrong he was.
Consisting of 65 million guaranteed and 6 in potential add-ons. So we paid 65.
Look at what the transfer fee was. No. Look at the transfer fee. What does the transfer fee say? 71 million.
No, okay. From now on, so now
Google AI doesn't lie, Chris. AI doesn't lie. It's right there, black and white.
We always talk about we don't care about what the add-ons were at that point. We never care about it. Look at you
anyway,
laughing.
Have a look at that there. Let's all just take a second to laugh at Liverpool before we finish up.
Joe, what the mad thing about this is there's no one calling for his head. No,
that's not true.
If Amorim had the run that Amorim has had the run, he's currently going on, and he should be.
Now there are some Liverpool.
Not good enough.
There are some Liverpool channels out there. Well, a lot of them are calling for him to go.
Yes.
Now the mainstream media aren't, which is annoying me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
looking at the likes.
It just went to 4-1. I can't wait to finish now. I'm just going to make a quick little TikTok here. It's going to be brilliant. And I'm going to text all of my Liverpool friends.
Well, Jack, your Liverpool friends, are they calling for his head?
To be honest with you, they're a little bit more level-headed. You know, they're saying, look, they're kind of like, there's two of the boys now that play for me. And they were kind of saying, look, he's under serious pressure. He's got to turn it around. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I'd be surprised if, like, Liverpool aren't a sacking club either, to be honest with you. I don't know how this turned into a Liverpool conversation, but, like, surely they'll have to do something eventually. You know what I mean? Another couple of defeats in the Premier League over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I think you could easily see him. I think what could happen is if Alonso gets a sack from Real Madrid, I think they could pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And get him in then. You know what I mean? I just say give it to Gerrard till the end of the season and let him get relegated. You know what I mean?
Give it to Postecoglou. He needs a job.
Exactly.
There it is. You know,
as the famous Andy Tate said, give it Giggsy till the end of the season. So, right, boys. I think we'll leave it there on a nice positive note, at least with Liverpool losing. But look, anyway, it's going to be a busy weekend for United. It's a big game coming up on Sunday, so let's hope we can get back.
We're on Sunday, not Monday.
Sunday lunchtime.
12 o'clock, isn't it?
12 o'clock. That's a stupid kickoff I have on a Sunday.
Stupid time. But
12 for you guys.
Yeah. So what's that? 7 for you?
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
Ooh.
7. Yeah, happy days.
You still
Right,
eat your
boys.
turkey anyway, £23, Chris. So you'll still be up eating turkey.
Say that again. What?
You'll still be up eating your turkey and brisket anyway at that time, so you won't have to worry about it.
That's
Be
true.
like Joey out with friends. What was I doing wearing jeans? There's no give.
I get my stretchy pants out. Don't you worry.
Right, boys. I appreciate you coming on, and I'll talk to you during the week. All right.
Later.
Absolute legend. Thanks
See
a
you guys.
million. Thanks everybody for watching as well, guys. As always, please do smash a like in the video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Busy week coming up. We'll have the match preview coming out on Friday lunchtime, and I'll have a lunchtime video coming out as well tomorrow, hopefully. If not, I'll try and get one out tomorrow evening. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Smash a like in the video. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.